Welcome, everybody, to our latest interview in the All American Leadership Interview Series. Our guest today, Chief Brian Fennessy of the Orange County Fire Authority. Chief Fennessy has been absolutely on autopilot the last couple of years. 45 years in the fire service, 17 years, 18 years as a, no, 12 years as a
Yeah,
hotshot.
12, 13 years, yeah.
Almost 30 years at San Diego Fire, became the fire chief in 2015. Became the fire chief here in Orange County in 2018,
Okay.
serving 2 million people, in addition to tens of thousands of wildland fire acres, $500 million budget, 78 stations. And what's always impressed me has been your focus on leadership, your focus on the culture. And what I want to do is dig into that a little bit. I know you've been interviewed by everybody and their brother over the last couple of months. I want to ask a question that maybe other people haven't asked.
Okay.
To accomplish all that you've done, I heard you in an interview where you said, I don't need no stinking legacy.
Right.
And yet, it seems like it's just part of your DNA. You can't help it but to lead with curiosity and to have an intense desire to leave the Jersey, i.e. the fire service, in a better place than you found it, which is going to cause there to be some memory of you. What is your personal purpose and your personal core values that have oriented you to the pinnacle that you've attained?
Man, that's a great question. And before I answer that, I just want to say thank you. I mean, you and I go a long ways back, and we connected very early on because you too have that passion for leadership and seeing others develop. And I think there's no greater satisfaction than to see those work with you and around you also have that passion once it's introduced to them. And I think you and I've talked about it in the past. That wasn't always my case, right? I didn't ever expect to be the fire chief, and certainly early in my career, I wasn't maybe the perfect employee and those sorts of things. And I'm a believer that leadership can be taught, can be learned, I should say, because I don't think I was a natural or leader. And I found myself in leadership positions very early on in my career with the Hotshot organization and whatnot. But in retrospect, I don't think I was a very good leader until somebody mentored me and introduced me and shared with me that there was maybe another way of getting people to do the things you really needed them to do. I think going back to your question, I mean, for me, it's always been, and it took me a lot of thought and time to really kind of understand what were those things, those core things that really were important to me. And I think number one, change, and not just change for change's sake, but that's one of the things that, man, I'm passionate about, and curious. I love that you picked up on that, because, man, I am curious about everything. I'll go to lunch or dinner or meet with somebody. They could be somebody sitting here waiting for an interview to be a firefighter, and they'll from a place, or an Olympic athlete, man, and I'll drill into this, man, tell me about that. I mean, I'm just fascinated by people's stories, right? And I think, like so many, we've grown up in organizations, and I don't know any that are perfect. Certainly this one isn't perfect, but they couldn't use a little bit of change. And unfortunately, during the time, that I grew up in the fire service, people weren't interested in change, and they certainly didn't want to hear about it from somebody that was just a firefighter or just a captain, where the reality is that's, I think, sometimes where the best ideas come from.